Since Tuesday, Winnipeg has been the center of all things cello. The International Cello Festival is in full swing, offering audiences a true feast of recitals and performances that celebrate the most expressive of instruments. Among the festival's star performers is the acclaimed German cellist Alban Gerhardt. Since making his debut with the Philharmonie Berlin in 1987, Gerhardt has performed with nearly every major orchestra across Europe and North America, from the Berlin Philharmonic and the Royal Concertgebouw to the Leipzig Gewandhaus and the Chicago, Philadelphia, and New York Philharmonic Orchestras. Here in Winnipeg, he's taking part in 5 festival events, culminating in a performance of Richard Strauss's Don Quixote with the Winnipeg Symphony Orchestra on November 1st, where Gerhardt will bring the noble knight to life, his cello serving as both a voice and his armor. And it is with great pleasure I welcome in to our Classic 107 studio the great cellist Alban Gerhardt. Alban,
thanks
great
for
to have
having
you
me,
here.
Chris. Thank you.
So, firstly, welcome to Winnipeg. When did you get here, and have you had a chance to sleep off the jet lag?
I never suffer much jet lag. I got here yesterday. Yesterday I got here and we had already lots of rehearsals, and today I played the Beethoven Sonata, so I'm well inside the festival. And it's a wonderful festival. It's amazing what Paul Marlene has done here, bringing all those cellists together.
And as you said, you just came from the Beethoven, where they're playing all 5 Beethoven sonatas. How was it this afternoon with Paul Williamson?
Well, he did a great job. I had a little memory slip, and he was a wonderful collaborator, and he heard me having gone lost, so he stopped. So I think it was the first time in my life we didn't start over again, we started a bar before, but the first time in my life in a sonata that we stopped, because I always play everything by heart, like sonata and concertos and stuff, and I have my little blackouts here and there, but I always hop back on. But if the horse stops riding, then I cannot hop back on. So we had a but actually, otherwise I think it was a nice performance. It was a pleasure working with him.
And it's still going on. They're in the process of playing them, I think, still now. I think it rounds out
there should be in
5.
the last one now, yeah.
Before we get to the rest of the festival, you and I were emailing back and forth a couple of weeks ago, and I remarked in one of the emails about how much I love your recordings of the Pfitzner cello concertos. This has been a real theme for you throughout your career. You perform and record literature that's off the beaten path. The Volkmann Concerto, the Gernsheim Concerto, plus new music. Why do you love that so much, and what itch does it scratch?
Well, truth to be told, I just didn't have a choice. I mean, the label I worked with, they didn't allow me to record Dvorak and Elgar, so I recorded whatever else they allowed me to record. And but beside that, the first time I ever got to play a major concerto more than 2 or 3 times, I remember it was in the 90s with the Saint-Saëns concerto, and I played it 5 times with some Austrian, Viennese orchestra, and after the 4th time I thought, oh look, God, I'm glad this is over now. I mean, to play the same piece 5 times in a row, that was, for me, too much. I get bored. I mean, I've just got diagnosed ADHD, so for an ADHD person to play the same piece over and over is not a good idea. So I like different pieces. So I never limited myself to any repertoire. Some colleagues, not cellist colleagues, but soloist colleagues of mine, they offer 4 concertos or 5 concertos per year, and I would never dream of doing that because I like the variety.
Yeah.
Not that I get bored, but yeah, maybe I would get bored playing the same thing over and over.
It's nice to mix it up.
And that's how I also keep it fresh. So if you hear me play Dvorak, it won't sound stale. You might not like it, but definitely not stale, because I'm not playing it. I mean, okay, by now I played it 200 times, but never more than 10 times per season or 5 times. And then it stays different every time.
When I was prepping for the interview, I watched a really wonderful conversation you did years ago with cellist Johannes Moser. It was recorded during COVID. And one of the things that struck me about that conversation and that I just loved is that for you, playing cello, it's a job. It's a job that you're lucky enough to do, but it's not the be all and end all. With some people, if they have a bad performance, it affects them for days after. For you, it's you do it, you love it. It's not a big deal. Is that one of the things that came out of growing up in a family full of musicians?
Well, I wouldn't say that cello is a job for me, but I love music. And more so, when I play, it's not about me. I think that's the bigger picture. So if something happens bad, like today, this blackout, I don't feel bad. I mean, it happens. Yeah, I'm a human, and I fail, but I was happy about many other things which worked so well. So I'm much happier than if I would have felt musically it's super boring what I'm doing. And I don't think it was boring. Maybe some people in the audience might find it boring, but I thought it was actually good what we did. So this little blackout, who cares?
Yeah.
And so I don't define myself as a
maybe that's what I was getting
as
at.
a cellist. I mean, I am a cellist and I'm a musician, but for me, perfection. That's the interesting thing. We strive for perfection when preparing, but in a concert we should completely forget about it. Because if in a performance we still just look for perfection, then we're missing the point.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. One of the other things that I think is so great is that you're very passionate about outreach. You perform in hospitals, young offender institutions. I saw something that you even did some entertainment for Germany's National Railway. Why is that so important for you to do outreach and find other outlets?
Well, I don't do hardly enough because I'm not a good initiator myself. It has to be other people who tell me what to do, and then I do it. This with the hospitals and offender and even prisons. I played now I was artist in residence. Exactly. Whenever I'm an artist in residence, then I tell them, just give me anything. I play in a mall, I play in a subway station, I play just to connect to people who don't know that they might like classical music. And as some of your listeners might not know, but lots of you might know that classical music is heavily subsidized. And here it's donors, or no, how is it in Canada? Government, okay.
Yeah.
So same like in Germany. So it's taxpayer money. And 90% of these taxpayers, they never get to hear us because either we're playing in concert halls which are too expensive, or they just don't know that it's actually quite beautiful what we are doing.
Yeah.
And you don't need to have any knowledge to enjoy classical music. I mean, you might enjoy some things more. You might even enjoy some things less. I mean, my father, who is used to be a professional musician, I don't think he enjoys going to concerts so much because he picks everything apart.
Yeah.
So if you don't know so much, sometimes you can enjoy it much more.
Yeah.
And especially with Bach's music, and that was the thing what I did for the German railway system. I played all the Bach suites in one day at I don't know, 6 different stations over 3 days. I think I played them in 3 times through and in different stations because I wanted to also show that this great music can transform any kind of space, even a stupid railway station, into a concert hall.
Right.
Because all you need is great music and an audience which is willing to listen. And actually, I had to do a pilot for the Deutsche Bahn because they didn't trust. So I played them all in the Berlin main station. And that was advertised in the radio. So there were like 200-300 people actually listening. And one lady, she had heard it in the radio that I would play. She came and she talked to me afterwards. And she said that she goes to concerts all the time. But this experience was for her the most intense listening experience because she had to make an effort.
Right.
She was standing, so it was not very comfortable, and she had to actively filter out all the noise from the train station. And she said in some concerts she dozes away, which is fine. I doze away in concerts even when I'm playing sometimes. But she couldn't do that. She had to really be much more concentrated, and she actually said there was a different and stronger listening experience than in the Berlin Philharmonic Hall, which I found very interesting because, yeah, you get more active partners in listening.
As we're recording this, you're going to be doing a masterclass tomorrow at the University of Manitoba's Eva Claire Hall. It starts at 10:30. Is teaching something that you enjoy? And do you ever see yourself actually taking on a university position?
Well, in Europe it's too late. I'm soon 60, and you don't get a teaching job. And my father was a great teacher, and he showed me what a great teacher does. And a great teacher cares so much about his students. And he really, to the extent that our father didn't have time for us. He was member of Berlin Phil, so he had to work hard for that. And he had his 12 students throughout his life. He started when he was 16 and he stopped when he was 80. That's 2 years ago.
Wow.
So he was a teacher for 64 years, if my math is right, yeah. And he cared so much that I knew I would do the same. But I have 2 kids. the one is gone. He's old. 26, he's not gone, but gone out of the house. But there's a 12-year-old, he also needs me. So I know I couldn't give justice to students, my son, and a career. So I would have to give up something, and it wouldn't be the son. And actually, I like playing, so I wouldn't. But that said, I'm traveling to Boston now and give a masterclass there because they're looking for a new teacher there. But I hope not too soon, because I think only in 6 years. Once my kid is out of the house, I can get a teaching job. And I would love that. From 65 to 85, I would love to teach.
What about doing master classes? How do you find that doing that?
I find that honestly superfluous because there's so much you can do in 45 minutes. And when I was growing up as a cellist, I attended 3 master classes with Arthur Noras, Pergamenchikov, and Paul Tortelier. And I remember everything about that. It was super meaningful, and I'm happy I did it. But nowadays, the young players, they do 3 master classes in a week. Yeah. And I was teaching in Verbier this summer, and the great players, that's how I actually met Brian Cheng, Canada's greatest cellist, who was participating there. And I told him, why are you taking lessons? You're so good. You don't need. He was by far the best I've ever taught. And where was I? Oh yeah. So in that week they had 3 different professors, and it's confusing. Yeah. Actually, the job of a teacher should be to make the student find his own voice, and not the student, the musician you're teaching his own voice. And if every other week they have somebody else, that's not possible. Yeah. I'm quite grateful that I wasn't too distracted, and that I had teachers. Actually, my last teacher I only had 3-4 lessons with him, Franz Helmerson. But I remember when I asked him once, towards the end of my studies, to play Haydn concerto for him, he said, no, you do it on your own. You go. You're and I was 22 or 23, so he didn't want to give me another lesson. Maybe he just hated me, but I took it as a vote of confidence, that he had confidence in me that I could do it myself. And one colleague of mine wanted to have a lesson with me. I was 30, he was 25. He's like, what? But and I knew he was very good. We had the same teacher. I said, no, I'm not teaching you. You do it. You don't need a teacher. And I remembered how helpful it was for me that Helmerson said, you don't need a teacher anymore. Yeah. Go just fly yourself.
Do your own thing. On the 31st, Halloween, you're involved in this Halloween cello ensemble. It's made up of artists of the festival, plus the cellists of the Winnipeg Symphony Orchestra. Have you had a chance to rehearse yet? And if so, what's it been like?
Actually, a wonderful group. We rehearsed already today and yesterday, so it was it's gonna be fun. I'm not the biggest. You shouldn't talk to me about it. I'm not the biggest fan of cello ensembles, as I used to be. As a child, I loved it, but now.
Then on November 1st, you are busy. You're playing Bach's 6th Suite for solo cello at the Des Hôtels Concert Hall, and then in the evening, you're playing Strauss's Don Quixote with the WSO. The Bach cello suites, they're fantastic. One of the things I love about them is you can have the same suite, 5 different recordings, and they're 5 completely different performances. Do you enjoy geeking out with other cellists about the Bach cello suites, or do you just want to play them for the audience and just let it lie?
I've never done it. I've never geeked out with cellists about anything. So like when you mentioned the talk I had with Johannes Moser, that's probably one of the only times I ever talked cello with a cellist. I'm not in the cello world, and with the Bach suites I have never listened to a recording. I mean, maybe 2-3 minutes here and 2-3 minutes there, but altogether I never liked Bach. So as growing up, I never liked Bach, and only the slow and minor movements. Then later I got used to it and I liked it more, and now I like it much more. But still, if I had to pick something, I'd rather listen to a Mahler symphony than to a Bach cantata. Even though I love the Bach cantatas, the Bach cello suites. Cellists say it's the Bible, but
I mean it's a bit like scales for cellists. It's got to be part of your DNA, right?
Exactly. But if I ever get to meet the great master in some afterlife, and I mention to him how grateful I am for his Bach suite, I'm sure he will look at me and is like, "What? Huh? What? Oh, these etudes I wrote. Oh yeah, nice. Yeah, you're welcome." But I'm sure he has no recollection. I mean, if you compare in his entire oeuvre, the Bach cello suites are the least least thing he did. I mean, every single sonata and partita for violin is so much more elaborate and so much more difficult musically and technically. I'm grateful that ours are so easy in comparison. I mean, they're not easy. I mean, to play Bach on the cello is super difficult. I find it very difficult, but I'm glad it's not the violin stuff.
The Strauss Don Quixote that you're going to be doing with the WSO, it's a terrific piece. It depicts various scenes from Cervantes' novel, but it's set up as a set of theme and variations. When you're performing it, how do you approach it? Are you thinking about the variations, or are you thinking about trying to get across the scene that Strauss is trying to depict in the music, or both?
Well, I think I wrote... When I was 11 years old, I wrote a piano trio which lasted, I think, 90 seconds. And the end was some very Strauss-like thing. So Strauss was one of my favorite composers growing up. And I heard Don Quixote with Rostropovich and Karajan, and I was completely in love with that piece. And that has not stopped. What I'm thinking, well, I'm very much inside the story, and not so much the story, but the soul of this poor chap. I mean, he just read too much. He read too many books, and it somehow started to grow in his brain, and he got crazy. But somehow I relate to him in a deeper way than just fighting some sheep, and because he's in his own world and living and being teased by those friends of his who pretend he's on a flying horse once, and and he has his trouble with his servant.
And there's like the whole, I mean, Sancho Panza is depicted by the viola. Of course, there's that long viola sections, and I think it's bass clarinet and euphonium as well.
It's a very colorful piece, and I'm curious how we'll do it. I have high expectations, but it could also be, well, I already had a long talk over email and on the phone also with Daniel Reiskin, whom I know since 20 years, because I have a very clear vision how I want this piece to be, and I don't want it to be dragging on. I have had performances where it drags on, and my favorite version I've ever listened to is the one with Strauss himself, which is quite matter of fact. So actually the Karajan Rostropovich version goes a bit overboard. It's not really Don Quixote. It's a Russian bear pretending to be a knight, but he's not. No, Don Quixote is Spanish nobleman. One must not forget that. he was not a pervert. He was very educated person, and he thought of himself as a knight. I mean, he was at the same time simple, but very well read, too well read. So he's and Rostropovich version is a bit too juicy for my.
So when you perform it, are you performing it as a full-out soloist like you would with a Dvorak concerto, or are you thinking constantly about there's these exposed sections, but there's also very much this interplay between the cello and the orchestra?
Yeah,
as a soloist, how do you approach that?
Definitely not as a solo concerto.
Yeah.
That's why I had this long talk with Daniel, because I feel, I'm contributing, and that's very annoying for the conductor because it's a conductor's piece. But I'm interfering because I should conduct that actually, because I care too much about all the rest, but when I play, it's not a solo concerto. It's really just part of something much bigger, and I love playing it because at the bottom of my heart I'm an orchestra musician like my father, so I'm not the biggest chamber musician. I just played the chamber music concert last month, and I actually really didn't enjoy it. It's very strange. Everybody loved it, but I mean all the participants there loved it, and I thought, I'm very happy where I am playing rather concertos or in an orchestra. Like the last week I played Weinberg concerto in Madrid, and in the second half I joined the section to play Prokofiev 5.
Oh, great.
And I must say I enjoyed that better than our Souvenir de Florence, which we played a week before somewhere in Germany, which was a good group. But I'm more of an orchestra guy than a chamber music guy.
Alban, this has been really great. I'm going to wrap up the conversation by asking what you're looking forward to most, not only about your performances here in Winnipeg and with the Winnipeg Symphony Orchestra, but with the Cello Fest in general.
No, I didn't get that.
What are you looking forward to while you're here?
Oh, well, there's not much more time. I won't have time to enjoy my lovely hosts who are they're not hosting me, but they're driving me, volunteers, Don and Elaine. They suggested to bring me to the lake, but I have to practice the Don Quixote. It's not so many notes for the cello, but actually it's much more challenging for me than a Dvorak concerto. Maybe also this on and off. We have to stay in character all the time, and it's 45 minutes, but probably I only play 20 minutes. Yeah. But these breaks in between, I need to stay connected. I cannot. It's not relaxing. Yeah. So I feel still being part of the story and of the scene. So I need to prepare that
and
well
Strauss
enough.
Being Strauss, you got to count like crazy.
No, I know it well enough, so I don't count. If I would count, I would be out. No, I know it so well. I could. I don't know. I couldn't write down the score, but I know quite well what's happening. I'm playing it since 35 years, and I've played it quite often, and never with music. So it's completely
up there.
So could be that you'll experience another blackout if you are lucky.
Alban, this has been a real thrill for me to talk to you today. Happy cello festing. I hope the concerts go super well and the houses are packed this week. All the best, and thanks so much for making the time to stop by and talk to me today.
Thanks for having me.
And you're going to play for us. Can you just set us up? What are we going to hear?
Sure. Something simple, lovely, not from the 6th suite, but the prelude of the 1st suite by Johann Sebastian Bach.
I'll let you play us out.
And for just to be not to be surprised, the last note of that piece is indeed a full note with a fermata, so it's quite long. Don't be surprised, and I hold it quite. I try at least.